shortages and advancements in technology that rendered certain industries obsolete. While natural or legal trustees may pass away, the trust itself remains intact. Management companies may go bankrupt, but the trust endures. Each beneficiary of a family trust only owns a fraction of the assets held within the trust. Each beneficiary has a direct proportional ownership stake in the underlying assets. This vehicle is secure and can exist indefinitely, surviving all manner of adverse economic and policy conditions. Importantly, every member of the trust has direct proportional ownership of properties within the trust. Introducing Property X, a licensed property fund designed to help people buy property in an easier way, on a pay-as-you-go basis and on demand. For the first time, you can now design your own payment plan. Your payment is for acquiring ownership stakes in property development projects and only buy as and when you have money. This trust fund is a bigger family trust and affords you the same protection. You generate profits from these property developments. Accumulate these profits, along with the property stakes obtained through your capital investments, to eventually acquire your separate property. The profits from property development serve as a type of funding provided by us to you, the property buyers. You can visit our projects and witness how your money is being put to work. Since property development projects involve a value addition process, they generate actual income at the project level. The combined profits from these projects are distributed among all members in proportion to their capital contributions. Your capital contributions plus your property development profits must eventually add up to your desired property. So why wait? Take the first step towards home ownership. Property X, your payment plan, your way. There is an easier way to buy and own your own home. This is possible when you start by buying property shares or units, earning profits, and then building up towards your own separate property. Everybody deserves a home, but unfortunately, there are obstacles that stand in the way. These obstacles include hefty deposits, hefty monthly installments, credit checks, and complex property acquisition processes. Many of us have lost faith in the traditional system because it creates these barriers to entry. These barriers have also driven some of us into the hands of land barons who have pretended to present more affordable options. Over the years, some of us have also tried to secure our financial well-being by way of pension funds and insurance products. These have failed to sustain their value. The only asset that has sustained its value is property. We are glad to announce that we have now made it possible to break these barriers to entry into ownership of property. We have now made it possible for people to purchase property 1 square meter at a time. We have shattered the barriers to property ownership and acquisition. People can now enter the property ownership game with just a few dollars and gradually build up towards their own separate property. This is all possible via a financial instrument that functions like a family trust, where people can initially co-own property or properties with each person owning a share of the property or properties in the trust. Family trusts have been tried and tested for centuries. They have protected family properties for centuries. They are a secure way for people to collectively own and hold property. Family trusts have managed to safeguard family estates for centuries, enduring world wars, global market crashes, policy changes, and advancements in technology that rendered certain industries obsolete. While natural or legal trustees may pass away, the trust itself remains intact. Management companies may go bankrupt, but the trust endures. Each beneficiary of a family trust only owns a fraction of the assets held within the trust. Each beneficiary has a direct proportional ownership stake in the underlying assets. This vehicle is secure and can exist indefinitely, surviving all manner of adverse economic and policy conditions. Importantly, every member of the trust has direct proportional ownership of the properties within the trust. Introducing Property X, a licensed property fund designed to help people buy property in an easier way, on a pay-as-you-go basis and on demand. For the first time, you can now design your own payment plan. Your payment is for acquiring ownership stakes in property development projects and only buy as and when you have money. This trust fund is a bigger family trust and affords you the same protection. You generate profits from these property developments. Accumulate these profits, along with the property stakes obtained through your capital investments, to eventually acquire your separate property. The profits from property development serve as a type of funding provided by us to you, the property buyers. You can visit our projects and witness how your money is being put to work. Since property development projects involve a value addition process, they generate actual income at the project level. The combined profits from these projects are distributed among all members in proportion to their capital contributions. Your capital contributions plus your property development profits must eventually add up to your desired property. So why wait? Take the first step towards home ownership. Property X, your payment plan, your way.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please confirm that you can hear me by reacting with an emoji or just by raising up your hand so that we can proceed. Okay, thank you so much. I can see hands being raised there. Wonderful. Okay, so my name is Albert Nangara, and I'm joined here today with people from South People, Capital Asset Management, as well as people from FINSEC. So I'll allow the team to introduce themselves, then we will move forward with the webinar. Please, starting with people from FINSEC, then we move forward to South People.
Thank you very much, Albert. My name is Victor Mukara. I'm with FINSEC Business Development.
South People?
Thank you. My name is Trevor Paraziva. I'm with South People Capital Asset Management.
Thank you. I'm Maxwell D'Souza with South People Capital Asset Management.
Thank you very much. I'm Filani Ndlovu with South People as well.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So we can proceed with the presentations. I'll now hand over to Victor Mukara from FINSEC. Over to you, Victor.
Thank you very much, Albert. Thank you very much to you all. I hope you are having a pleasant afternoon. So today we are here to just discuss about property ownership, which is made easier with Property X and FINSEC. Obviously, with the partnership that we got from South People, who run a fund that is called Property X. So how we've structured this presentation is that we are going to make our presentation on this concept where we are going to unpack the concept of the mutual funds, which encompasses Property X. And then once that is done, some people are going to make a presentation on the developments that they have done on this exciting product called Property X. And then we are going to get some remarks from the trustees, which is Becca Tilly. And then we are going to have a question and answer session, and then closing remarks. I hope we will be able to enjoy this. So I will just do a brief introduction about FINSEC. So FINSEC is a registered alternative trading platform which is regulated by the Securities Exchange Commission in terms of the Section 30 of the Securities Act. And we are regulated by SEC, and we operate two markets, private markets and public markets. So under the public markets, obviously, we are pushing the story around alternative investments. That speaks obviously on alternative assets, where we are talking of examples like real estate, commodities, private equity, private debt, syndicated facilities, so that our investors out there are able to access these assets. That is maybe our main drive as FinSec that we are pushing right now. In addition to that, we are providing alternative trading markets where you are able to receive, to get exposure to a wide range of trading markets. In addition to that, we are providing alternative channels that can allow you to invest. So these alternative channels include the likes of C-Trade, which can allow you to obviously invest in a wide range of assets. Speaking of which, Unity Trust has been of low uptake, and there's been some challenges around the reporting, the visibility, and accessibility channels. And hence, as FinSec, we were then enabled by the technology being able to upscale this opportunity. We are going to address the issue around the low uptake, the visibility issues, the accessibility channels that we are both going to obviously address through C-Trade. Over and above that, our first asset that we introduced on our board through a listing that we did on FinSec is Property X. So Property X is a licensed fund regulated by the Securities Exchange Commission, enabling individuals and organizations to purchase property gradually, even in smaller pieces, where someone can easily buy a property maybe from a square meter perspective without needing to have a huge upfront funds in order to acquire this. So as you do that through smaller contributions that you'll be doing, you'll be able to acquire the property that you would want to buy. Over and above that, there were some challenges around purchasing property where these properties were not screened, were not legit. But with Property X, we are bringing you the opportunity to actually make an investment into credible properties, in which you'll be doing it using simple tools. And the units of the property, they're actually tradable, and you can buy as you wish from a minimum of $10 US. And these funds, these units actually represent an underlying asset that is a property that is under development. And from the presentation that will be made by the fund managers, the South people, they're going to show you actually the exciting developments that are happening around the country. So I'll give you just a glimpse of how it works. So this is actually a fund that is structured as a unit trust. It invests in real estate, and the fund manager has a good pipeline of a property bank that they are investing in. And these projects, they actually sort of require an initial capital in which the funds that you invest, they go into the investments, into the property. And the investment mechanics is that investors can buy any number of units into the fund, and you can get your profits through obviously the value addition that will be done on the property, the changes in the price of the real estate that you'll be doing, and through the accumulation of units that you are going to get a lot of profit. And the exciting news about this initiative is that the exit strategy, you can redeem your units as cash at any point in time after 6 months of owning the units, or you can exit through an actual property that will be in the fund. So you can approach the fund manager, and you can tour around the properties and you can exit. And to point out, this is a secure structure, a secure structure where we have a lot of participants that are there. So these properties that are being developed, they are evaluated by the trustee, which is Baker Tilly. Their valuers, Knight Frank. Their lawyers, their bankers. There's the fund manager themselves. There's a property developer, which is Southland Regional. The C-Trade, where we are giving you the channel, and FINSEC, which is obviously offering you the quotation service and the listing status. I think I will hand over to South People team so that they can unpack the whole concept and give you the pipeline of some of the projects that they are doing, and obviously we'll take you the investor journey on how you can actually be part of this exciting opportunity. Over to you, South People.
Okay, thank you so much, Victor. While we wait for South People to present, for those that are actually attending, please do utilize the chats or the Q&A section so that you can ask any question that you have beforehand. The panelists will actually answer those questions after their presentations. Over to you, South People.
Thanks, Albert. Thank you, everyone. We will take you through. I think Victor has covered quite a bit already, but we will try and focus on the aspects that he hasn't touched. Okay. In this presentation, I'm just going to cover a number of sections. One is about the promoter, a little bit about the promoter, maybe just to get a sense where people can get a sense, where this is coming from, the personalities behind the product. We also take a view on what the market needs, our perception about what the market needs in general, which in essence is actually been the inspiration behind the product. I'll also then look at the mechanics of the product. I think Victor has covered quite a bit of that. And then we'll look at what you can do as a potential investor. Just high level about the promoter of this product, 22 years in business. This is some of the highlights of the projects we have done in the market. On the far end, the last two, some of the flagship projects that we are doing right now. I think the intention of this slide really is for people to get a sense, the level of intention and the level of experience that this team has, and to that extent informed for the product. This is just some of the work. So in the next slide, we're talking about really the core business of the promoter. It's property development, EPC construction, BOT concessions, and professional services under the EPC structure. So basically, like Victor had spoken about, the pipeline of projects, what we traditionally do is identify opportunities, prepare them, engineer, capital raise, construct, and develop. The essence is that before investors like yourselves get involved, the idea is to have them opportunities in the pipeline fully de-risked. Some of our projects, which I've already highlighted. This is some of our work. This is in Guero. This is a shopping center in Guero. This is Inscot distribution, which is on your way to Tungiza, on the left as you get out of Harare. There's a Riverside Mall. Some of obviously know this is in Harare, Riverside Mall. The other one is Aripo head office. Done a few service stations or track, a couple of them in Harare and in Guero as well. Barclays worked back then when it was still Barclays, but now First Capital. This is our flagship. Nyerere Ridge is our flagship project. This here, the view that we have here is an entrance from the Borodero Road side. The other, the more well-known one is on the other side, on the Alps Road side. Cherubin, this is in Karoma, just off the highway as you get out of Karoma on the left. This clusters in Helensville on Crowell Road. Then we have got Rockridge. Rockridge is right against the Lake Chivero rather, between Blawai Road and Lake Chivero. And the other one is clusters in Malbra, Taumina Gardens. Then Kalami, this is about 44 hectares in Bulawayo. Again, we just come off the blocks on that one in terms of road clearance and all that stuff. On the right is something in Greendale. Another set of clusters. Just generally our footprint in the last 22 years, we've been able to do some work in those markets as far afield as Nigeria, DRC, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. Just an outline of some of the blue chip companies and clients that we have worked with in the past 22 years. I think our story really is that, which most of you understand very well, is that property obviously underwrites the financial market system in the sense that when you need money, they will always ask you for property as security. So it is something that, which is really the basis of how we are to try and bring about inclusion via this product. So out on this slide, we're trying to actually outline some of the needs that we believe the market needs, that people need out there, and anticipate the various needs that are in the market. We know already that a lot of our people, especially this side of the world, people like funeral plans. So the question that we were quizzing ourselves to say, how about a property ownership plan, which gives access, which actually breaks the barrier to entry, and then typically the corporates want to do staff-assisted housing. We felt that we needed to respond to that need as well. On the pension fund front, we are wishing for a situation where in the near future, maybe pension funds can pay out using property units as opposed to depleted currencies, which is what is the situation of obtaining right now. And then we also got, we know, especially on C-Trade, people have been participating mostly with the assets that have been available, stocks, bond, and we are putting on the table real estate in a function, in a manner that is actually very accessible. And then the next point is about giving people exposure to property without the headache. The headache is our problem, and in essence, we as a team, we say to ourselves, we are allowing people to be property developers, but without the headache that comes with it. We know as high net worth individuals have been able to build their own property portfolios over time, but it's not something that everyone could do. We think that for the first time, even when a child is born, you can start. I know when I was growing up, there was the issue of post office POSB book. Parents would do that and say, I have a son, let me open up a book. If it wasn't goats or cows on the one hand. So we're looking at a situation where somebody can start as early as possible. And why do we think this is possible? Because in the manner that it is being presented, it can compete against even consumption, because you are deploying your money as and when you get it. So there is an opportunity there for people to start and grow their portfolio. By the time they retire, they have a number of properties. Then obviously, some can come in just for the profits. We all know, and I think we all agree that all over the world, property development makes money. And so we are looking at a situation where, maybe you're out in the diaspora, and we see it actually, as we drive around, you see efforts from people doing various things, but maybe this is a business opportunity actually for people. Just a simple business opportunity for some people, where they can, instead of hustling, using other assets, you can actually deploy your capital to this product and participate in the profits that it delivers. So Victor has already spoken about the fund, which we are introducing to you as an innovation. Nothing new really. Like you said, it's a mutual fund. I think the only thing that we have tweaked is that we have made it available to everyone. Number one. Number two, we have got even given people direct access. We know that already pension funds build skylines all over the world. Already insurance companies build skylines all over the world using our money. But what we have done is just, instead of having that agreement in between, is to get people to participate directly on the property. Victor has touched on this. I think this is the stakeholder. Really, this is the stakeholder management structure, the governance structure rather. So accountability mechanisms, all in place in the standard way that most of us understand. So we can. Just this license there. We all have to deal with the fears about Ponzi schemes and the funny stuff. So we obviously have to be deliberate about following the law. Well, this was the press release. I think we can go for next. This was press. So, like Victor said, it's available on C-Trade, and so what we have done obviously is integrate on our side of things with C-Trade, so people can participate on the C-Trade side, and the two systems are integrated, and hopefully they deliver seamlessly. Just an outline. I think Victor did a good job of explaining, but really, I think what I can just emphasize is that eventually, when your money comes, there's a timeline within which it must be deployed into these or any other projects that are available. What we took care to do was to prepare a pipeline in advance in anticipation, when we were anticipating to launch the product. And this will continue. I mean, housing has been going on for hundreds of years. So this will continue into perpetuity, really. There'll be more coming up. There'll be geographical spread. All of that will come through as you participate. We will be looking at areas where you can exit in specie, or you could even exit and then go and buy wherever you want. Basically, this is an instrument where it delivers profits to you as another form of funding. So at some point, your value becomes equal to what the property that you want. And then you can either redeem in specie within the fund or walk across the street and get your property somewhere else. Just the mechanics of it. The mechanics of it, I think the fundamental issue is that initially you own via the units, so you'll be holding property as a share of the underlying asset. And the only reason why you have to do that is because you are still going through your payment plan, if we put it that way, and you still have to get to a point where you eventually own. And so during that time, that's where your capital investment plus the property development profits then eventually aggregate to an amount that is equal to the property that you intend. You can actually target that upstream when you start. When you start the process, you can say, I want to stay in this region, take a view on the valuation of the exit property, and then build up towards it. I think one other point there, obviously, is that this thing, and I know in the Zimbabwean market, is that people are concerned about policy changes, and I think our response to that is that in the video we speak about the fact that it functions like a family trust. It's just that in this case, it's a family of many people who are not necessarily related, but that trust. We know that some of it existed for hundreds of years and protected family estates. So it's structured like that. Even if policies changed, world those have come, some of these families still own their properties. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about the opportunities that this presents. I've said a little bit as well, but I'll just elaborate a little bit more. My first point is that many of us have always been, if you are maybe 20, 30 years and above, you probably have been a developer yourself, by virtue of the fact that your pension fund money has already been participating in projects. So you literally have been, but indirectly. And those properties have been developed. And we're talking the world over, really. Yeah, it doesn't matter which skyline you look at. It's made of pension fund money, insurance money, and just institutional money. So in this case, I did say that we are doing it in such a way that you are involved directly, you own. So this is an ownership, much like you would own shares of in the other instruments. You can own shares of Econet or any other listed company. In the African setting, the Zimbabwe in particular, is that most of us have irregular income, and we see this every time through our doors when people come, and they come and say, look, we used to have a form where we would ask, where do you work, how much do you earn? Because we typically give people a little bit of credit, 12 months, sometimes up to 24 months. But in going through that, we noticed that we were missing the point. We were missing the point because there is a different profile of a person who has capacity to pay, but his income is irregular. And this is what this product does. It responds to that person, even to the extent that that person can come and pay whatever they have at any one time. In over time, that money accrues together with the upside that the development delivers. But the main issue is that we had to respond to a section of the market, and coincidentally, we may as well change the definition of credit worthiness, because coincidentally, in our experience, they even pay faster than people who are maybe in regular employment. So, and then high net worth persons, we are also saying this is an instrument that will make you build your portfolio quicker. I mean, rather easier, because every time you have got some liquidity, you can deploy it effectively by putting it into the instrument and then accruing towards your next property. Even institutions is that when I talk about institutions, one of the greatest, our experience of 22 years, one of the greatest things we see unfolding every time we start a project is that institutions in particular, are always worried about the capital intensiveness of projects. And we see that all the time unfolding. They get more comfortable once the project is in the middle and is going towards completion. But when you start, there are lots of fears about how projects are capital intensive. So this product will allow institutions to participate on the basis of the liquidity that they have, and because we are obviously syndicating across many people. Kids, I've already said, kids can start. This is actually available on, like C-Trade is online. You can actually do it from your phone, meaning that a kid can decide, whether they want pizza or, if they have change, they can throw it towards property. For us, it's a game changer that property, for the first time, can compete with consumption. It is a game changer in our world, because the liquidity, in the past, if you had 200 bucks, it was only good for consumption. And I think we're saying this product changes that. Then obviously I had personal experience of item number E. I had a fund for my kids somewhere, put the proper US dollars, but after a while I lost all that money, and it was supposed to go to my kids' university. So I'm sure there's a number of people with that experience. But if you're doing it with this product, as long as the property is there, and as long as it's no act of God that destroys that property, the asset is in place and your value is preserved. Yeah, we are also looking at, even people in groups, women's clubs. People in groups can also, organize themselves, but eventually participate as well. The other value proposition is that you may want, the traditional route is that you have to put up a deposit, and it is actually a task in itself to actually save up for that deposit, because what you're trying to save, life happens, kids get sick, sekuru, things, there's money, the demand for money never stops. In fact, liquidity is such a hard thing to hang on to. So we are saying you can use this product to build up your deposit, then transition to the traditional purchasing way of purchasing, where you then take your value, walk across to the bank, put up your deposit, and continue as in the usual way. I think that's it, Victor, from me. I think I've touched on the main issues we can then deal with. We can then deal with questions as they come. Maybe you want to take that, Victor, that section about the next steps, if you don't mind.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Now we're moving forward to how to actually trade on CC Trade, how to buy the property X fund on C Trade. You have heard that FINSEC just listed property X, and property X had some people had that for you to say what is the opportunity presented to you if you invest in this particular fund. What is the problems that they are trying to solve from this fund? But after all that is said and done, how do you actually buy those units? How do you actually participate? How do you actually own that property in Property X? So allow me now to share my screen so that I walk you through how you actually invest on Citizen, how you place your orders. So firstly, you understand that on C-Trade, you are given access to all and other particular securities that are there. And after that, you also have access to a wide range of securities, and you have different access channels. So it means you can buy property X from the mobile application, from the web page, and so forth. So right now, I'm going to share. And just raise a hand if you can see the screen that I'm sharing now. Thank you so much. I see the hands that have been raised. So what you do is you just go on ctrade.co.zw, or you can download the mobile application on Google Play Store, or for those that use iOS devices, you can also get it on App Store. So just type C-Trade Zimbabwe and you'll get the application that you're going to use. If you don't have a seeded account, you proceed to register an account on C-Trade, which the three-step process where you enter your personal details, where you enter your banking details, and you enter your security questions that will help us protect your account and help you in terms of protecting your account. After you register, your account will be approved on based on the availability of the full KYC details. If you do not provide the full KYC details, you get a reason, your account will be rejected, and you will get a reason for that rejection, and so that you can amend your account. After that is saved and done, you can easily now go and log in into your account. You click login there. As you can see, you enter your email address. Let me just use this email address. You enter a password. After that, you sign in. Then you get a C-Trade, Fantasy, and live markets, and you proceed to the live market. Then, for you to invest in property X, you have the My Account site, and on the My Account site, property X in this case is trading, or you can buy it in US dollars, and it's $1 per unit. So you mean that on the USD side, you should have funds on the USD side, which are on cleared cash or on cash available. Then on the market watch, you go on unit trust. That is where you see property X. As you can see from this list, down there you see property X, which is property X pay as you go property acquisition fund. Then on the far right, you see the order posting form or trading form, which you will be populated, or which you will populate when you want to buy the unit. So we go back on the market watch there. You see a button which is in green, which is written invest. You click on the invest button. That will help you by auto-populating the order posting form on the far right. The company is property X, the fund is property X. In this case, the time in force is day order, the trade type is invest, then the amount is the number of units that you want to buy. So remember, the minimum number of units in this particular case is 10 units. So you go here, I just want 10 units in this case. What is the purpose of your fund? What do you want to invest? So I'll just say property. Then the source of funds, as I said, is coming from my income. Then I will agree to the terms and conditions of that, which were already laid out by South people, and it's also in the prospectus of Property X that you can access on the CITRAD website as well. Then, after doing this, you haven't bought the unit yet, we have to submit. But I want to make something clear. You can buy units of Property X anytime. It's a 24/7 thing. If you agree to buy the units around the 12 in the midnight, don't worry, just log into your CITRAD account, follow the steps, go on Trust, click on invest, fill this order posting form, then click submit. As you can see, you have successfully posted the order. What it means that you have actually submitted interest to buy these units. Then Property X will do the magic. You will now go to your portfolio and you see your units that you allocated based on your amount that you require. And that is all, ladies and gentlemen. That is how you place an order, or that is how you buy units of Property X on CITRAD. Victor from FINSEC, you can come through.
Okay, thank you very much, Albert, for that. I think, guys, to just give you confidence, this is a well-regulated product that is regulated by Securities Exchange Commission, and it fulfills all the requirements that are set for collective investment schemes, and it fulfills the requirements that are set by the exchange, which is FINSEC. We've granted it the listing status, and on this call is also the trustee. I'll invite James to just give a brief of his presentation about the Property X, and then I think we'll be able to get to the questions. James, over to you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. If it's afternoon, wherever you are. I'm James Chitupa. I'm the Principal Officer of Begatile Trustee Services. We are the trustees for Property X Pay-as-you-go Property Acquisition Fund. I think by now you know it's a collective investment scheme. So in terms of the law, every collective investment scheme should have a trustee. The main role of the trustee is to hold the property of the fund or the assets of the fund in trust on behalf of the unit holders who are the investors. So we represent the unit holders, their interests. We ensure that a register is maintained and every unit holder is treated fairly. We ensure that the deed of trust is executed at every point in time. And we monitor all transactions between the asset manager and the investee projects, where your money, if you are a unit holder, where your money is going into. Because this is a property, to the extent that or when the fund acquires properties, be it land which is being developed, as the trustee, we ensure that we have agreement of sale, we have got title deeds, and we are the custodians who maintain those security items on behalf of unit holders. So in a nutshell, we are the eye of every unit holder, because the unit holders, you don't have day-to-day access to information. You can't be all together. We will foresee this fund getting millions of unit holders. So you definitely, there has to be one eye that looks into. We by law, we are supposed to be independent, and we are independent. Of all the people in this world, it's only the trustee who cannot invest. So anyone can buy units, but myself, my immediate family, my subordinates, that is Baker Tilly and its associate companies, we cannot be unit holders. That's the extent of independence that should happen. We also ensure that every unit holder has got certificates, and that certificates are up to date in terms of the register. Where a bonus or a profit or a return is distributed, as the trustee, we also in consultation with the manager, we approve the distribution and ensure that the distribution it's done with proper what we call equalization. That is to ensure that every investor gets their return, which is fair to them. Because if some investors come in within a period, some would have been invested for the whole period for which the holding period for which the return is being calculated. But some, they might have joined within the period. So we do what we call equalization. As the trustee, we ensure that the equalization is done properly. As I said, we follow the dictates of the deed and the prospectus, both in terms of ensuring that valuations are done appropriately, the fund is audited, valuation points are done, the register is kept up to date and can be accessed by the public. So in a nutshell, that's what we do. If any unit holder has got complaints, they can reach us. The details on how to reach us is there. They've got there's internal mechanism within the manager. But some, if they got a query with their certificate and all that, they can be related queries. They can reach the trustee. In a nutshell, that's what we do. We are along Borodor Road at Celestial Park, Unit D and H, Block 1. That's where Baker Tilly Trustee Services is. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Thank you very much, James, for that. I think you have read it for yourself that this fund is with a trustee. There are documents that are available for inspection that you can read. So the documents they are available on our FINSEC website. You'll be able to access the fund fact sheets. You'll be able to access the prospectus of the fund and any other communication that will be done by the manager and the trustee. And there are obviously some valuations that are done on the land and the units. So that's where you are going to get your profits, and your profits are going to be distributed as units that you are going to get. And each unit, it costs only $1 US. So when you invest in this fund, at the end of each quarter, all the participants that are there, they do some revaluations. When the revaluations are done, there's going obviously to be a profit, and then that profit is going to be distributed to unit holders as a scrip. And anyone who wants to exit can exit in cash, or anyone who wants to exit in the proper amount of the fund, they can just approach the manager, and the manager can point out to the property. So they've various properties that are there. I think when Pilan did the presentation, he spoke about some of the properties like the Nyerere region, for those that are in Harare, for those in Kadoma, for those in Tare. I think they've got a wide range of the projects that are in the pipeline. You can actually get it as a house. You can actually get it as a stand that you can stay. So why don't you invest in your charity, where the charity begins at home? Thank you. I think we'll go to question and answer. Albert, over to you. Maybe you can take us through the questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Victor. So what we are going to do now is now going on the question and answer. Then either FINSEC or Property X will actually answer the questions. After finishing all the questions here, we just allow 2 or 5 people in the audience. You just raise up your hand. We give you the right to talk. Then you ask the questions. Otherwise, starting with the first question, will this trust be available on public platforms like C-Trade? Okay, I think I'll answer this one since I already presented on it. So as you saw from my presentation that yes, Property X, you can subscribe, you can buy units in Property X on C-Trade using the step that I actually presented. Thank you. Then the second question is Southland Regional and South People Asset Management, are these related entities?
Thanks, Albert. Yes, they are related entities in the sense that, I mean, and it's not unusual that let's say you have a bank with different wings in the business. So the idea was that the developer conceived the idea of the fund, but needed to obviously get it done in a proper way. So that relationship is actually beneficial in the sense that we are able to contain risk, construction risk within the group.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Proceeding to the next question, at what point will you be able to own a property whilst buying these shares? And what type of property will you be owning?
Okay, thank you for that question. I think for that question, I think I'll answer it, and then Mr. Glove will then reinforce the answer. So at any point in time, when you buy units, you're actually a unit holder into the portfolio of the fund manager. So you'll be owning the property. So for you to withdraw the property, where maybe you can then be able to use it, you'll be able to use it when you redeem your units, and there are various stands or actual properties that you're able to buy, and the types of properties they can vary. You can get residential, you can get commercial. I think you've got a few of some of the developments which are being done by the manager. So in terms of maybe the prices per square meter, I think he has got the figures at his fingertips in the various developments that are happening in the portfolio.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Victor. So this is what happens. So when you want to start this investment, you decide to say you want a stand or a cluster, and you estimate what order of price, or you look around and say, what does a cluster cost in Marlborough? And then once you have your market price, so you know that is the target you are going for. So the question of how long, it really is in your hands, because you then decide that, okay, this month I'm putting 1,000. So in our traditional we've got obviously the traditional way of selling property, and people there are doing 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, and they have to stick to some installments. But in this case, you decide to say, okay, how fast do you want to get there? So that is in your hands again, to say, if you want to get through to it within 12 months, it means you have to put a little bit more, pay as and when you get it. The only other aspect we can help you is when we revalue the investment. That's the only part we play. When we revalue the investment and it adds profit, that's in our hands, because we'll be producing on the ground. But everything else is in your hands. The question of how much do you put at any one time is in your hands. When do you put it is in your hands. And how long do you want to take before you own the property? It is in your hands. Essentially meaning that if let's say you want a cluster and it's 140,000 in Marlborough, you want to do it in 2 months, you have to pace yourself through, rather not 2 months, rather 2 years. You have to pace yourself through that 2 years. The only helping hand we're going to give you is when we do work on the ground from an investment side of things, and it adds profit. So that Victor was talking about the regular valuations; those will come through. As from time to time you get a statement that says, okay, your money has added another 10% or another 20%. That is the extent to which we help. Otherwise, the rest is in your hands. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Now proceeding to the next question. Can an individual participate in the trust in local currency?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So currently the fund is available in US dollars, but in the future, I think it will be available. There are some modalities that are being worked on, and communications will be made available to all the investing public of such development.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Proceeding to the next question. If you decide to exit, are you penalized, and are you eligible to rejoin or start again?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. So you are not penalized for any exit, and you are not you don't have any challenges to rejoin. We actually made it easy, because for some they want to be traders where they can just jump in to buy the units and then exit at some point in time, then reinvest. So it's like a share in any stock that you invest in. So the concept is the same, but here the underlying is actually the land that you invest in. So you are not penalized for anything.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Now moving to the next question. What are the anticipated average returns per annum?
Right, let me take that one. So obviously by law, we have to give you the return that the asset gives. So it's not a debt instrument where we can say you are getting so much interest per year. Okay. So really, as an investor, you probably have to educate yourself about what levels of return property gives. I can hazard some. I can give you examples. Is that okay? So I can give you examples of what we've already done. In one project, in one project, we got some investment from a pension fund, and then they entered at a price of about $24 a square meter in terms of the service stand. That project, as we speak, the valuation is more than $80, $90 a square meter. So they made more than doubled their money in a period of about 1.5 years to 2 years. That's an exception in the sense that that is a function of the location of that property and how attractive that investment in terms of that location. You would appreciate that the levels of return in Borodale are probably different from the levels of return in Dubai somewhere. So really, the correct answer is the level of return is based on what the asset gives. But I think you would need to understand, at least apply yourself to say what levels of return is property giving. Anyway, that market information will be available.
In addition to that, I think the manager will be doing a very great job in terms of publishing the financials about the fund, so you can you'll be able to read what is in the fund's portfolio, so you can do your valuations. Yeah. In addition to that, they also give historical returns. I think if you're able to go through the prospectus, you'll be able to see some of the stories, and investment decisions can be based on the facts from the information that you'll be able to read.
Let me add again, Victor, that this is precisely why there's an independent valuer. They will come and do valuations and make sure what the market gives is what you get as an investor. So that is actually not even in the hands of the fund manager. It's actually in the public domain. And there will be reports. One, you'll be getting statements from time to time, at least quarterly. You'll be getting your own statements with the valuations, and then also you will also obviously the independent valuations that are done by the independent valuer.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Moving on to the next question. Are there possibilities of incurring losses after investing?
I'm north of 50, and I've not seen property. I've never seen property go the other way. I mean, as in the reality of property. We know that property by definition is a hedging asset. Is a hedging asset. This is a property that is not even undergoing any development. It's a hedging asset. But the one that is undergoing any development produces profit. I know. I spoke earlier on about the skylines of cities they've been doing for hundreds of years. People and that process is continually making profit. So I think the correct answer is property development is a very profitable business, and you will be participating in those profits. Did I hear you? Victor?
Ah, good.
Trevor, did I hear you?
Yeah, no.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Moving on to the next question. How often will the underlying property portfolio revalue?
Okay, I think that was answered. The property valuations are done each quarter, and you'll be able to get all the reports from the valuers, and we'll always try to keep you informed of any developments through the statements that you'll be getting.
Thank you for that. The next question says, what are the expected returns for unit holders, and how is this instrument shielded from currency changes?
I think on expected returns, they vary, and then maybe in terms of the shield against the currency changes. So what will happen is you are not investing in something like a debt instrument. You're investing in an equity instrument where they are actually units into a property. So you actually shielded against any currency changes because you will be owning units. Whatever the currency that will be trading, at that time for those particular units, you are shielded against that because you'll be actually owning a real asset.
Yeah. If I can add that, this is why we use the example of a family trust. If a family owns a property somewhere in Avondale, currencies may change, but through all of that, they will still own that property. So it's the same thing. You will still own that property regardless of what currencies come from.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So moving forward, are you related to the company that is this website, www.propertyx.co.uk?
It's not UK, no. No, sorry, not that one. No, not that one. We'll check. Can you get the correct website, please?
So for the website, I think
We'll
for the website we'll type into our chat. But you can be directed through South Asset Management website, which you can also get from SEC, where you can get the link to the website, or you can go to Southland Regional as well, where you can be directed to the Property X website.
Okay, thank you for that. So moving on to the next question. When buying the units under the heading purpose, what are the other choices besides property, or that's the only answer available? Okay, thank you so much. I'll answer this one. So this one pertains to the order posting form on CTREC. So purpose is your reason why you want to invest in property X. I just used the property there as an illustrative example. So you just type your purpose. Now moving to the next question. This property X, is it more like a REIT, or is just a regular real estate investment company? Is it realistic though as well to buy a property via units for the regular Joe and Jane?
Yes, it is designed like a REIT. The only difference is that a REIT ordinarily would be listed on the ZSE. In this case, it's not listed on the ZSE, but on the alternative listing. And the reason behind that is that we wanted people to not to suffer from a secondary market, because once you list it, it means the valuation, the price at the stock market is not necessarily correlated to the underlying asset. So to avoid that, so that we wanted to reinforce the point that you own your property, you're holding it. And so when you're holding a unit, you're holding a fraction of that underlying asset, or rather properties or properties. And yes, it's available for anybody, any Joe. And in fact, the whole concept of unit trusts is to break down access. So it means anybody can buy. We already demonstrated that even in the past, people have already been contributing towards big properties in the form of insurance premiums and in the form of pension funds. So there's nothing new there.
Okay. In addition to that, the Unity Trust actually brings the idea of pooling, the idea of Ubuntu, where you join hands to bring up something. So this is an open-ended fund. So ideally, a REIT is a closed fund where it reaches a certain ceiling, and it will then do another series. But this one is open-ended, where the promoter, which is Southland, is able to acquire as many developments as possible. When they acquire those many developments as possible, they then expose those opportunities to unit holders that they can be able to invest in. So the idea of this property fund is actually good because it is open-ended rather than a REIT, where it is closed. And then in terms of maybe the valuations, the secondary market, sometimes it underprices or overprices. So this fund actually gives exposure to the unit holders. And this fund is listed through a quotation on FINSEC, which is an alternative trading platform. Thank you.
And again, so yes, it's not a real estate investment company. It is a fund by definition.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So moving forward, what guarantee is there that customers will be able to redeem the value of their investment?
The primary objective of the fund is that you redeem it in specie. That means obtain a property at the end of the process. That is so already as a business, we've been delivering property for the last 22 years as a business. And what we're actually saying that is that there's testimony to that delivery. But more importantly, the funds, when the money comes, it will be deployed into projects. So that guarantees that you will eventually have your property at the end of it, because there's obviously a corporate governance structure that will make sure that that money goes there. And with the regular valuations, independent valuer, audit, trustee, so there is a layer upon even the regulator themselves. There's a layer upon layer of accountability mechanisms. But this instrument is going to deploy money towards production. And that production is going to produce your property at the end of the process.
So you are even guaranteed that there is actually a real asset that is backing your investment where there is property. I think you saw the pipeline, and if you want to redeem for cash, the cash will also be available where you can get cash. And if you want to buy your property elsewhere, you can buy property elsewhere. If you want to buy into the fund, you can get. So there are a lot of safety mechanisms there.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Now moving forward to the next question. What risks exist with the fund? How can we be sure that these properties are not being used as collateral for other projects?
Okay. I thank you very much for that. I think James touched on that when he presented about the structure. So there is a corporate governance structure that is there. So that is the responsibility of the trustee. So the properties that are in the fund, they have title deeds, and then those title deeds are held by the trustee. And if anyone wants to inspect that, they can do so at their will. And all the documents, all the funds, the checks and balances are done by the trustee. There are auditors in addition to provide a layer of safety in terms of the investments that will be done by the investing public.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Now moving forward, we have 3 questions here in part, so I'll ask them all, then the responsible parties will answer. First question is, at what point are housing prices in a particular project calculated and publicized to property X unit holders?
Okay, thank you. So you're asking about the price of the houses. So they are publicized by the promoter, which is Southland, and the units, they will always be $1. When there is a revaluation of the fund, which is a pool of what has been invested by the unit holders, the profit that is generated from that is distributed to unit holders.
Let me add. So I think one point to understand is that there is the investment side where someone is building towards, where your money is deployed into a project and it earns profits and it builds you towards your own property. So that is the production side of things. And in that regard, this is where the valuations come in from under the watch of the trustee. Now, regarding the exiting, remember you're actually being given profit. So when you exit, you are also going to exit at market price, and that market price will be as determined by the market at any one time. So you could as well just liquidate and go somewhere else. You're not even going to be held down to exit within the fund itself. You can take your money and go buy across the street, like I said earlier on. So to that extent, you buy at whatever price that person gives you. and I think the fact of the matter is that because the investment side is giving profit, the buying side also must be done at market.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Next question is, how does the Property X unit trust differ from a REIT? And this was answered, so we can proceed to the next question. What are some of the key reporting formats and frequency requirements of the unit trust?
Is James still there?
Yeah. James, can you assist us in terms of the reporting format and frequency?
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure. The question was not appearing on my board, but I'm not sure what they mean by reporting format. But what I would say is, firstly, every fund is audited, and it's the requirement is that it's audited annually. But there are valuations every quarter. So after each valuation, there is assessment whether there is a return or of what magnitude it's distributed, and each individual unit holder gets a report on the return that they are getting, and the net asset value, which is the total value of the what we call deposit property of Property X of the fund, will be then updated and is available to the public. I'm not sure if I addressed the issue of reporting format, and I don't know which kind of reporting or format is it, but in terms of reporting performance to the general public, that's the order.
Okay, thank you so much for that, James. Then moving forward to the next question. Will the units appreciate or depreciate in value, say from $1 to $2?
Can I take this one?
Yes, please do, James.
The setup is each unit will remain $1. They accumulate more units. Returns are distributed in units, not in monetary terms, which then allows that return to be linked to a property. So you earn a return which is linked to a property, and to ensure that you get more units. So when the value of the fund increases, then the increase is distributed in a way that each unit will remain of a value of $1.
Okay, thank you so much for that, James. So moving forward to the next question, it says, what minimum amount should you invest to guarantee ownership of property? Suppose I am a student and would like or would need to invest in Property X, and I only afford $10 per month. What is the likely period that it will accumulate to own a property?
Right. I think the answer specifically is that the answer to that position is, one, you are being given the product allows you to start your property journey, and in $10 will start your property journey, right? And then it also speaks to another issue that you then have to aim at what your money can afford. So the situation is your money plus profit. You must have then aspirations that are tailored to your means, essentially. But the likelihood of you starting as a student with $10, the chances are when you grow up, you'll afford more. So, but you would have started your journey already. And I think that is what the product is for. The product is to allow you to start and enhance your capability to start, or even be able to deploy your capital, your money more effectively. But otherwise, over time, the expectation is that your means will also change. Otherwise, the other best way is just to manage your target and say, look, I can only afford a stem that is worth 3,000 over 4 years or 5 years. So that's how it will pan out. It's called pay as you go. It just means that it's in your hand, literally. All we are doing is giving you ability to earn profit via the means of production that we put on the ground.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Because of time, I will just ask the last question. Then we proceed to open the floor for 1 or 2 questions. So the next question is, what are the tax implications of the trust structure, CGT or corporate tax? James, can you assist?
Yeah, tax issues are a bit complex because we cannot generalize. So there are tax implications per investor. So there are other investors who are not taxable, who are tax free. Then there are other investors who incur tax. So what we do generally is every time there is a distribution, we then do tax accounting. That's what I can say. But at fund level, and at the point of realization of returns, there is capital gains tax component in there.
Okay, thank you so much for that, James. So, Tim, thank you so much. This presentation is being recorded. So what we'll do, because of the size of the file, we'll put it on YouTube. Then we'll share the link with you, all the attendees, so that you can actually follow through the presentation via YouTube. Then we are just going to open the floor for 1 or 2 questions from the attendees. So just raise your hand. Then we will give you they will allow you to talk. Then you will get a response. Thank you. Tapiwa, go ahead, please. You can unmute and ask your question. Since is not available. So anyone, you can raise up your hand, and we give you the access to talk. Okay, so I have Tapiwa again. Tapiwa, can you try to unmute?
Hello, hi. Yes, I mean now. I had sent a message on the chat. A person that says how many units constitute a paid-up property, maybe, and also give an example, maybe using 100,000 USD property. Did you get my question?
Can you say that again?
Okay, I said how many units constitute a paid-up property? Give current example on a USD 100,000 property.
Yeah, so each unit is $1, Tapiwa. So if the property is 50,000, is 100 units. It's 50,000 units.
And that money, okay, so with investment, because I'm paying over a period, that means the money, the actual money is going to be maybe coupled with interest, maybe that's what maybe works to advantage.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So let's say over a period, just as an example, there is maybe a 30% upside from your capital. So it means instead of paying 50,000, you paying 30% less.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes.
All right.
You are welcome. And moving forward, I can see that there are a couple of people that raised their hand. Cornelius, you can unmute your mic and ask a question. Cornelius, if you are speaking, we can't hear you. Okay, we can't hear him, so we can proceed to the next person. We have Wongeni. You can unmute your mic and you can ask your question.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
My question was, will you provide us with a maybe catalog to show us that you've got so and so properties in so and so places, so that when I'm working towards my dream, I know that maybe I need to push so that at least by end of 5 years to say I have about 5,000, which is the equivalent to properties that are at a density scale that I'm comfortable with. And also on your catalog, if you have, does it show the places where you have properties and the amounts of those properties at current, so that when I'm working towards the goal, I know if I'm to check in 5 years, I'll be knowing now I'm at 10,000, which was equivalent to a property at Budiriro or Nkulumane if I'm in Bulawayo. So I can go and check with you I think for a guideline, some kind of thing, so that I know I'm working towards this goal. Because for now, if we don't know the properties we have and the places where the properties are and the amounts, it's as if I'm working towards a goal, but I don't know where the goal is.
Yes, Mbongeni. So the prospectus already has a list of projects there that it also shows. So typically there will be a regular publication, both by the market and by the fund manager, to say these are the prices in Nkulumane, and the expectation is that with $10,000 you can get a stand, or with $6,000 you can get a stand. But from the portfolio of the fund, there will also be regular pricing being given out, so that you know what you're targeting. So essentially, before you even start, you can fill a form that says, I want to end up with a stand in Mkanwili or wherever, and as at now, the price is $6,800, right? So you work towards that. But from time to time, those valuations are also going to come out in terms of public information. But remember also is that you actually, which is the point that I must stress, you actually don't have to buy from this setup only. You can buy from anybody else eventually. You can buy from anybody else. But yes, from time to time, you have to get a sense of what the market is doing. The best job that the fund is doing is accelerating you there, because those valuations keep on eating money. I already gave an example that in one case, a pension fund paid so much money, but they were able to put 50, 100% on top in exceptional cases. The bottom line is, yes, yes, there will always be market information. There will also always be information that is coming out from the fund as a pipeline, because if the fund would be saying we are investing in Kulumani, we are investing in Mutare, and these are the projects that are existing there. Some of them to be used as the redemption properties. I hope I answered.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm very much answered.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you so much. I can't see anyone who has raised their hands. Otherwise, we really appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for listening. We just hope that you place the orders anytime. If you need any assistance in terms of placing orders on C-Trade, do reach out to us via our toll-free numbers, our WhatsApp number, even our emails. Even if you can request a quote so that we can walk you through how to buy these units on C-Trade. Otherwise, I can give the floor to Victor for the closing remarks.
Thank you very much for all those that joined. I will wish you a happy journey in terms of investing into the property. We made it much easier through this initiative that we did. And we are going to be doing a series of these webinars and educational campaigns. We are also going to be at Agricultural Show together with Property X so that we'll be able to help you navigate the journey of property ownership. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Okay, thank you so much, Victor.
There is an easier way to buy and own your own home. This is possible when you start by buying property shares or units, earning profits, and then building up towards your own separate property. Everybody deserves a home, but unfortunately, there are obstacles that stand in the way. These obstacles include hefty deposits, hefty monthly installments, credit checks, and complex property acquisition processes. Many of us have lost faith in the traditional system because it creates these barriers to entry. These barriers have also driven some of us into the hands of land barons who have pretended to present more affordable options. Over the years, some of us have also tried to secure our financial well-being by way of pension funds and insurance products. These have failed to sustain their value. The only asset that has sustained its value is property. We are glad to announce that we have now made it possible to break these barriers to entry into ownership of property. We have now made it possible for people to purchase property 1 square meter at a time. We have shattered the barriers to property ownership and acquisition. People can now enter the property ownership game with just a few dollars and gradually build up towards their own separate property. This is all possible via a financial instrument that functions like a family trust, where people can initially co-own property or properties with each person owning a share of the property or properties in the trust. Family trusts have been tried and tested for centuries. They have protected family properties for centuries. They are a secure way for people to collectively own and hold property. Family trusts have managed to safeguard family estates for centuries, enduring world wars, global market crashes, policy changes, and advancements in technology that rendered certain industries obsolete. While natural or legal trustees may pass away, the trust itself remains intact. Management companies may go bankrupt, but the trust endures. Each beneficiary of a family trust only owns a fraction of the assets held within the trust. Each beneficiary has a direct proportional ownership stake in the underlying assets. This vehicle is secure and can exist indefinitely, surviving all manner of adverse economic and policy conditions. Importantly, every member of the trust has direct proportional ownership of properties within the trust. Introducing Property X, a licensed property fund designed to help people buy property in an easier way, on a pay-as-you-go basis and on demand. For the first time, you can now design your own payment plan. Your payment is for acquiring ownership stakes in property development projects and only buy as and when you have money. This trust fund is a bigger family trust and affords you the same protection. You generate profits from these property developments. Accumulate these profits, along with the property stakes obtained through your capital investments, to eventually acquire your separate property. The profits from property development serve as a type of funding provided by us to you, the property buyers. You can visit our projects and witness how your money is being put to work. Since property development projects involve a value addition process, they generate actual income at the project level. The combined profits from these projects are distributed among all members in proportion to their capital contribution.